Hello, everybody. Welcome to Minnesota State High School League Adapted Softball Games of the Week. Unfortunately, my co-anchor Reese could not make it for this video this week. I'm recording this at 12:35 in the morning, and he's got math at 8 in the morning. So yeah, public service announcement: don't do what I do. Don't stay up until early in the morning. It's not healthy for me, for anybody. um Unfortunately, that's just how my body is. I can't go to sleep until very early into the morning. But yeah, that yeah, it sucks, but that's how it is. Yeah, so Reese is trying to sleep right now, and he will not be here for this video, but I'm still here, so let's get into it. Starting off with the Monday games. Starting off in the PI division, we got Minneapolis at Robbinsdale. This could be a very interesting game, but also a very one-sided game. Really depends which Robins we're going to get. Are we going to get the Robins that beat the Humboldt Hawks 9-4? Or are we going to get the Robins that, I mean, they couldn't win a game in floor hockey, right? So it really comes down to which Robins are we going to get and which Minneapolis team are we going to get too. Because Minneapolis, I mean, come on. They just beat Osseo, my preseason number 1. And yeah, it was a close game. From what I heard, it was 11-10. I'm not sure if that is on the website yet. I should have gotten this up, but you know how it is by now. I forget to do things until I'm actually thinking of them during the video. So, yeah. Let's see here. Adapted softball, scores and standings, PI, adapted softball. It's not on the website, but from what I heard from my insider over at Osseo, they lost their opening game to Minneapolis by a score of 11-10. But then again, they were also missing a certain Lincoln. So, yeah, what is Reese? Yeah. Reese is saying that he can't sleep. I actually have him texting me right now as I'm recording. Um, I'll say what he said later, but now is not the time. So, moving on to the CI division, where we've got the Southeast up first, where we've got Dakota United at South Washington. Now, if this were 2 weeks ago, a week ago, I would have put this as a game of the week. However, now that we have seen a couple of scores in, South Washington is not the same team we saw for soccer and softball, or soccer and floor hockey, rather. Um, they lost their first two games 16-5 and then 11-6. And the teams they lost to also lost to Dakota United. So, yeah, I think they need to kind of take a step back, reset, and see how it goes, because South Washington right now, I think they need a reset game, and I think they need a wake-up call. But I don't think it's going to come against these Dakota United Hawks. I think Dakota's just too good. I think they are going to take the Southeastern crown. And yeah, that's really all I've got for that one. So, moving on to the Southwest, where we've got two oh dear God games. And those ones are Robbinsdale at New Prague and Prior Lake at Minnetonka-Wayzata. Now, Robbinsdale, let me get the Southwest scores up here. Robbinsdale, they're 0-2 in the conference. They scored 3 runs in their first 3 games and then exploded for 17 in that 20-17 loss against Minnetonka-Wayzata. And Minnetonka-Wayzata, I mean, hey, They got 20 runs against Robbinsdale. They got a win against Robbinsdale. The problem is, it's against Robbinsdale. So, yeah, I don't know how. I don't think either of those two teams are going to win against, in my opinion, the top two teams in the league. Oh, one more thing. Sorry, we did not do any power ranking video or podcast, rather. I simply forgot to do anything power rankings wise. I did make my rankings shortly before I started recording this. And yeah, I mean, Prior Lake and New Prague are both top 3 teams in the state. 100%. In fact, Prior Lake is Prior Lake's my number 1 right now. Believe it or not. But we'll talk about that another day, because I don't think Prior Lake is going to give up that ranking without a fight. Anyway, moving on to the games of the week for Monday. I forgot to animate it, but South Suburban Jets at Lakeville, Burnsville, Farmington, Blazing Cats. Now, they did play each other, I believe. Anyway, no, I don't think they did. Both teams are 1-1. The Blazing Cats had a close game with Dakota United, losing 17-14, and then a Mercy Rule win against South Washington, 16-5. While South Suburban, against those same opponents, lost to Dakota United in Mercy Rule fashion, 13-3, and then beat South Washington 11-6. Both teams are 1-1. This is really for the second seed in the Southeast going into the second half of the regular season. It's hard to believe it's already the second half of the regular season. But yeah, the Jets Blazing Cats, they've got a pretty good rivalry going on, and I think this is worthy of a game of the week. So, anyway, my prediction, I think it's going to be the Blazing Cats prevailing. They're at home. It's against a Jets team that has looked shaky. So, I'm going to take the Blazing Cats by a score of, I'm going to say 12-5. I did ask Reese for his predictions. He said South Suburban, or wait, I think he's saying that the Blazing Cats beat South Suburban 13-7. I originally thought it was South Suburban, South Washington, but then I realized that that was later in the schedule. That's my fault. So yeah, there you have it. He's saying 13-7 in favor of the Blazing Cats. Moving on, we've got a PI game between Osseo Park, Maple Grove, and South Suburban. Osceo's first game is concerning. They lost to Minneapolis, a team they should have beat. To be fair, they were without Lincoln. And yes, one player can change a game. Maybe not as much in hockey or soccer. But in softball, one player can still make a difference with one big hit, with one big play in the defense. I don't know where anybody's playing on Osseo. But I do know that Lincoln is a damn good player. Excuse my language. Even then, an 11-10 result against Minneapolis, that's concerning. South Suburban, on the other hand, we don't know any of their scores. Actually, I think we know one. Let me get my little app. I've got an app on my phone that I track all of the games on. So let me just sort by matches with result. Yes, so they beat Rochester 15-7, which is a great win for South Suburban. That's a huge win. Right now, I think this is a top 3 battle as well. And it's a game of the week because I really think that first result is concerning, but not the end of the world for Osseo. We'll see what they can do later in the season when they face Dakota. But this is a real test against a South Suburban squad that is pretty good, honestly. They're a pretty good squad. So yeah. And Reese's prediction, he said Osseo wins 9-4. And I think that's a great prediction. I think South Suburban's defense is really good. Yes, they let up 7 to Rochester, which is a bit concerning, but considering they scored 15, it means their offense is right up there. I'm going to say. You know what I'm going to say? I still think Osseo's winning, don't get me wrong. But I think it's going to be a very close game compared to what we would think would happen. I'm going to say a 12-10 game in favor of Osseo. You know what? 12-11. Make it even closer. Make it a really gritty game. A lot of hits, a lot of runs, 7 innings. And you know what? I'm going to make an extra prediction. I don't think either team gets a 5-run inning. I don't think either team will get a 5-run inning. Yeah. I know, in a, what did I say, 12-11 game, you're thinking, wait, what? No 5-run innings? Yeah. I think South Suburban, I think they're going to have a 4-run first inning. And then they're not going to have anything in the second or third. And then another 4-run inning in the fourth to make it an 8-6 game. And then Osseo responds with 4 in the top of the fifth. That would make it, what, a 10-8 game? And then Osseo piles on 2 more in the top of the seventh. The Flyers try to respond with 2 more, but they just can't come all the way back. And yeah, that's how I think the game flow is going to go. Moving on, let's flip the script over to Tuesday's games, where we've got in the PI division the Hawk Bowl, St. Paul Humboldt at Dakota United, the Hawks at Hawks. I will be in attendance for this game. I promised a couple of buddies that I play Siege with who just so happen to be current Dakota Hawks players, Dakota United Hawks players. I promised them that I would be at all of their home games this season. So this is the first one. I'll be there, and yeah, I think Dakota United will just take this one. It's weird not just saying the Hawks because St. Paul Humboldt is also the Hawks. But yeah, I think Dakota United's just going to take this one. I don't think it's going to be a complete blowout because I still have some question marks with the Dakota defense and the Dakota offense even. But yeah, I think Dakota United is going to take this one. I'm going to say... Yeah, I think they are going to mercy rule, actually. I'll say 14-4. In 5. Moving on, we've got Anoka-Hennepin Mustangs at Rochester, and this could be a very interesting game. I was tempted to make this one a game of the week, but I didn't. It was between this one and another PI game that I did actually make this game of the week. I think the Mustangs have a really good offense. Their defense needs some work, I think. But considering that they only lost to Dakota, I think it was 14-8. Let me confirm that real quickly here. 14-8. Let's see here. Yes, 14-8. I was correct. So, like, that's not too bad of a loss to a squad that has won 63 straight now. Rochester, on the other hand, yes, they're coming off of that tough loss, that 15-7 loss against South Suburban. Yes, they only beat Minneapolis by 2 in that 11-9 win over Minneapolis. But I think this is a really good Rochester squad. I don't think they will go down without a fight. I think Anoka and Minneapolis are in that range of it's a winnable game. But I'm not going to take the Mustangs for an upset here. I think the Rochester Raiders are going to take it in the full 7 innings. I'm going to say, yeah, I think Rochester's offense is just going to awaken in this one, but their defense, I don't know what happens with their defense, but I think Anoka's offense also prevails. I think it's going to be a 15-12 game. I see this being a high-scoring game, 15-12. Moving on to the CI Northeast, where we've got White Bear Lake at Mounds View, Irondale, Roseville. The Bears, I mean, here's the thing about White Bear Lake. I really do not like talking about this team. I don't mean that in a bad way. I love White Bear Lake. I really do. The thing about White Bear Lake is it's hard to say anything about them while trying to be nice. Because, well, they haven't won a game outright this season. They had a draw. They had a draw in soccer, but they are the only team that has not won a game outright. It makes it really hard to talk about them. Mounds View, on the other hand, they had a bit of a disappointing start. They lost all 3 of their games so far. Let me get the scores up real quickly here. Northeast, the Rams. So they lost to the Coyotes 22-14 in that offensive explosion of a game. They lost to Centennial Spring Lake Park 12-8, which is really concerning. And they lost to Osseo 11-1, a mercy rule. Now here's the thing. I don't think Mounds View's offense is that bad. I really don't think Mounds View's offense is that bad. Their defense is a different story. I don't think Mounds View's defense is that good, unfortunately. I still think they're going to beat White Bear Lake, but I think it's going to be a highly explosive offensive game. Because White Bear Lake has shown they can get some runs on the board. 19-9, I believe it was, against Anoka. Let me confirm that real quickly here. No, 12-2. My bad. They got 9 against St. Cloud, 22-9. So, yeah, I mean, White Bear Lake can put up some runs. Let me get up their other scores here. It's really weird. I have to jump in between the Northeast, Northwest. And against Centennial, they lost 20-10. So defense is a disaster, but offense, not too shabby. I think it's going to be a very offensive game, but I think Mounds View pulls out on top. I'm going to say like 24-19. I think this is going to be that offensively explosive. Pitchers' ERAs are just going to drop. I'm a stats guy, so. Moving on, we've got Matamidi Stillwater at Centennial Spring Lake Park. This is the most interesting game of the Northeast. Because Centennial, hey, they're 2-0 in conference play. They're 2-2 overall. But they played St. Cloud pretty close. Then they got mercy ruled by Anoka-Hennepin. Then they mercy ruled White Bear Lake. And then pulled out a win against Mounds View. Not too shabby of a win, 12-8. It's not too bad. 4-run win, if I did my math correctly. Yeah, 4-run win. Matamidi Stillwater, I mean, yeah, they played the Coyotes close. I think Matamidi is going to take this one, but I don't think Centennial's going to go down without a fight. I don't think this is going to be a mercy rule game. I think it's going to be a 9-run game. Maybe it gets to 10, but it'll be in the 10th inning. Or, not in the 10th inning, Jesus. No, it'll be in the 7th inning if it does get to 10. So, yeah, moving on to the Northwest, where we've got St. Cloud at Osseo. And Osseo has just been the North's number one team so far. They've mercy ruled everyone they've come across, I'm pretty sure. I don't see that changing here against St. Cloud. It really is as simple as that. Yeah, I think Osseo rolls out to a mercy rule win over St. Cloud. Moving on, we've got Anoka-Hennepin at Buffalo Monticello STMA. I never would have thought that this would have been a game of the week at this point in the season, but looking at the common opponents, looking at everything around the game, I think this is going to be a pretty good game. Anoka-Hennepin 1-1 in conference play, 3-1 overall. They mercy ruled Centennial, they mercy ruled White Bear Lake. They played St. Cloud to a 14-9 win and then got mercy ruled by Osseo. So, yeah, both teams played St. Cloud pretty close, with Anoka winning 14-9 and the Yotes winning 15-12. So overall, pretty close games against St. Cloud. I think this is going to be a close game as well. The Yotes at home. I think the Yotes are going to take it in their home barn. I think it is going to be a close game, though. But at the end of the day, I think there's just too much firepower on the Yotes to not win this game. But I think it's going to be a very close game. I'm going to say, I don't know why, but 13-9 is coming to my head, which is kind of close. So I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to go with 13-9 in favor of the Yotes. What did Reese say? That's a great question. He actually thinks it's going to be a mercy rule. He's saying 14-4 in 5. And personally, I just don't see it. Looking at the results from common opponents, I just don't think it's going to be a mercy rule. I think Anoka-Hennepin is going to keep it close for the first time this season against the Yotes. Softball has clearly been Anoka's sport. So, yeah, there's our predictions for the Yotes Mustangs. Moving on to Wednesday's games, where we've got more in the PI division, where we've got the Dakota United Hawks taking on Minneapolis. In Minneapolis, yes, Minneapolis is coming off of that huge win against Osseo, but Dakota United is a different beast. I mean, they've won 63 games in a row. At this point, I think it's going to be 64 games in a row. That's a lot of games, considering you only play about 10 per season. Yeah, that's a lot of games. So, yeah, I think Dakota United takes this one. I don't think it's going to be a mercy rule, but I think Dakota United is going to take this one in the full 7 innings. Moving on to the CI Southeast, where we've got South Washington Thunderbolts against Lakeville Burnsville Farmington. Lakeville Burnsville Farmington already played them this season. They won 16-5. Really no reason yet to say that South Washington's going to turn that around. I think South Washington is just different for softball. I don't know what it is, but I don't think they are the same South Washington team we saw in floor hockey and soccer. So I'm going to say Blazing Cats. I don't think they're going to mercy rule them again, though. I think it's going to be an 8-run game. Moving on to the CI Southwest, where we've got two Oh Dear God games again. And again, there's really not much to say about either of them. Minnetonka-Wayzata at New Prague, Prior Lake at Robbinsdale. There's really nothing much to say about them. All of those teams have played each other before. And if I remember correctly, both teams lost by 19. So, yeah, I haven't seen anything to say that it'll go otherwise. Moving on to the games of the week, where we've got Dakota United Hawks at South Suburban Jets. Now, again, I originally thought that this was South Washington at South Suburban, but then I realized it's not. So, yeah, I'm actually going to make sure that it's not real quickly. It is totally possible that I got something wrong here. Yeah, so this is the correct response. In Dakota United, they mercy ruled them in the first one. Yeah, I just made this a game of the week because, well, there really wasn't many other games that I could put here. So, I think Dakota United is going to take this one again, even though it's in South Suburban. I'm going to say a 15-5 mercy rule. Reese said 12-5 in favor of Dakota. So he's not going mercy rule on this one, but I'm going to say 15-5. Moving on to Thursday's games, where we have in the PI division the Robbinsdale Hopkins Mount West Tonka Robins at South Suburban Flyers. We already touched on both of these teams quite a bit. South Suburban, hey, I think they're a really good team. We're still awaiting one result. I forget what game it was, but we're still awaiting that result. And then obviously the 15-7 win over Rochester. Oh, sorry about the yawn. Again, it is pretty late at night here, so. And Robins, yes, they're coming off of that St. Paul Humboldt win, but I just don't see them doing anything against South Suburban. Flyers in 5. Moving on to the CI Northeast, where we've got the Rams at Zyphers. And I believe they played this season, but we don't know the score of that game. I think the Zyphers are just too good for the Rams. I think Matamidi Stillwater's just going to run them over. I don't see it going any more than 5 innings. I think Zyphers in 5. I'm sorry, I love the Rams. That's the team my cousin played for in soccer and floor hockey, but I just don't see them beating Matamidi Stillwater. Moving on, we've got Centennial Spring Lake Park at White Bear Lake. Again, 20-10 in their first meeting in favor of Centennial. I don't see that changing much. Sorry, I'm trying not to yawn here, but it's not working out all that well. So, yeah, I think Centennial in 5 again. I think that's a safe prediction. Moving on to the CI Northwest, where we've got the STMA Buffalo Monticello Coyotes taking on the Osseo Park Maple Grove Orioles. Now, I said at some point during the season that I promise you every time these two teams play, it will be a game of the week. I admit, I'm sorry I lied. I apologize for lying. But Osseo has looked like the clear number 1 team in the North. They've mercy ruled everyone they've come against, everyone they've played against, rather. And, yeah, Buffalo, I mean, yeah, in their first game it was a 16-2 loss. I just don't see that changing, unfortunately. So, I do think the Yotes will make it a little bit closer. I still think it's going to end in 5 innings, unfortunately. I think the Orioles are just too good for the North. So, yeah, with that, moving on to our games of the week, where we've got Anoka-Hennepin Mustangs taking on the St. Cloud Crush. And hey, in their first game of the season. Anoka-Hennepin, where is it? Oh, that's Osseo. Anoka-Hennepin, 14-9 against St. Cloud. That's a very good result for this Mustang squad. Can they do it again? I think so. I'm going to take the Mustangs in this one. I'm going to take the Mustangs. I think it's going to be closer. I still think I'm going to take the Mustangs. I'm going to say 9-7 in favor of Anoka-Hennepin. Reese, on the other hand, let me get my chat up here because Snapchat's a little bit dumb. Reese does not believe in the Mustangs at all. He's saying St. Cloud's going to win 7-2. He does not believe in the Mustangs. I, on the other hand, I believe in the Mustangs, and I'm not afraid to say it. I don't think they're going to get second in the division. But I think they're not going to get last in the division either. So yeah, I'm taking the Mustangs in this one. 9-7, let's go. Let's do it. Moving on, where we've got a PI game between Osseo Park, Maple Grove, and Rochester. Now, again, I'm really concerned after that 11-10 loss to Minneapolis. Can Osseo find their rhythm after playing South Suburban? I think the answer is yes. I think even if they lose by 1 or 2 to South Suburban, I still think they're going to beat Rochester. I think it's going to be a 15-8 game in favor of Osseo. Reese is saying 11-4 in favor of Osseo. And yeah, I think he's pretty close to the money on that one. I think Osseo has a really good squad. I think they just need their confidence back after that Minneapolis loss. And I think South Suburban is going to give them a lot of that confidence back. So, yeah, with that, if you need to contact me, you can contact me at everythingminnesotaadapted@gmail.com, on X, formerly known as Twitter, at allmnadapted, or on Facebook and Facebook Messenger at everythingminnesotaadapted. You can contact Reese at his Instagram at NorthstarAdaptive. Mess with him for not being here. Don't actually, he's going through some stuff, so don't actually mess with him, but, you know, he... yeah. He's a great guy. He does a great job over there. So, yeah. And with that, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, leave a subscribe, leave a comment, leave all that good stuff on this video. And hey, I promised myself it would be around 30 minutes in length. Here we are, 33 minutes and 20 seconds later. So... yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Again, if you enjoyed, leave a like, leave a comment, leave a subscribe. We love reading comments. Me and Reese, we both absolutely love reading comments. So, yeah, good luck this week. No injuries, no fights, no ejections. Don't get ejected. What else is there? I already said it, but good luck again. And I hope to be proven wrong on a couple of those games. So... yeah, with all that, you know I have to do the Markiplier outro. Bye-bye!